Good morning. I'm speaking to Professor Glenda Gray, and she is currently the CEO and the president of the South African Medical Research Council. Am I right on that, Glenda?
You're correct.
Glenda, I want to talk to you about the vaccine because you played such a big role in this. Can you tell us how that came about after the AstraZeneca was found not to be efficient against the South African strain of the virus?
Yes, thank you. I was fortunate enough to be the co-chair and co-national investigator for the ensemble study in South Africa, which is the J&J Ad26 single dose jab that we are rolling out at this moment in time. And so I'm very familiar with the vaccine because we had been leading the vaccine trials in South Africa. And so the results of the J&J study came out at the end of January, and we were able to share these results with numerous stakeholders, including the Minister of Health. Around the same time, we started to also hear that there may be issues with the efficacy of the AstraZeneca vaccine. And together with Professor Mardi, we presented the data from the AstraZeneca study to him, as well as the data from the J&J study. And when we saw the two results together, there was a lot of discussions about what should happen next and whether one should move ahead with the AstraZeneca study, given the lack of efficacy in against the variants in South Africa. And at the same time, in the same day, I had reached out to J&J to see if they'd had any spare vaccines lying around. And so when I told my minister, he got excited, and we started our communication with J&J to see whether we could bring any spare doses into South Africa so that we could help the healthcare workers, given the fact that we knew that this vaccine worked very well, and that this vaccine, even in South Africa, protected against death and hospitalization. And so this seemed like a good plan B. And we worked furiously then to try and realize the plan B. And I guess the rest is history, because we're sitting here on Sunday and there are queues of people waiting for vaccines in Steve Biko Hospital. And over the last few days, we've managed to vaccinate around just over 10,000 healthcare workers. Well, it's a single shot vaccine, so you don't have to bring someone back again. And it's easy to store. So in -20, it can last a year. In 2 to 8, it can last 28 days to 3 months. We say 28 days just to be careful. So, and it can last 4 hours in a syringe. Put them in from Belgium in big containers, and then they were in -20. So then obviously we had to pack them again in little -20, so we could send them all over the country.
Okay, so the cold chain will have to be kept. That is very important.
Yeah, so we have internal thermometers, so we can see if there are any temperature ranges. So it's all electronic. So if there are any temperature excursions, we will know about, because everything is electronically monitored, the temperature.
Glenda, is this the only vaccine that we're going to get now, or will we have to look to other sources as well?
But I think that we need as many vaccines as we can get, but we need vaccines that work in our country. And so whatever vaccine is evaluated or rolled out in South Africa, there would have to be some assessment as well that these vaccines are active against our variant. And so that obviously remains a big concern to South Africa, to make sure that whatever vaccine we procure, these are costly vaccines. It's costly to roll out, and you don't want to put anyone, a healthcare worker, a teacher, or an essential worker, or your grandmother, on a vaccine that doesn't work.
What I want to know is if that cytokine storm that we're talking about with the virus, will this also take place on the 5th day after getting the vaccine, like with the virus itself? How does that work?
Okay, that's a nice question. So after you got your vaccine, you will get mild headaches, chills, fevers. So not everybody gets this. Okay, so let's just take the extreme case. You'll get a mild, so you get a mild headache. Some people may faint after the vaccine. They may be overwhelmed. And then, so you may feel pain in your arm, tingling down your arm, headache, temperature, shivering, chills. Some people may get a rash, and some people may have other reactions. So they're kind of the normal kind of reactions that you would see with a flu-like vaccine. And if you've had COVID before and you receive the vaccine, you may the symptoms may be a little bit more exaggerated than if you've never been exposed to COVID. So remember, it excites. This vaccine's job is to excite the immune system. And so if there is if you've had a previous immune response, it could become exaggerated. And so we will be watching for those side effects. If you've had another vaccine and then you receive this vaccine, you can also have an exaggerated immune response. So we are seeing that in America, people who've been mixing and matching their vaccines have had, have what we call more reactogenicity than people who are having the vaccine for the first time. So it's all of those things. So so what we see is the induction of the immune response, and this starts from day 7, day 14, day 28. You have your peak response, and but your side effects is normally in the first 3 to 5 days.
Is it then better still to get the vaccine rather than to let it go its natural course?
Well, I think that we don't know how long natural immunity is going to last. And we've known that people have been reinfected, particularly with the new variant. We're getting reports of reinfection. So I think it's important particularly for healthcare workers, frontline workers, to get the vaccine to protect themselves.
Glenda, how long does it take from taking the vaccine to getting immunity? And how long, do we know how long that immunity will last?
Okay, that's a good question. So we start to see immune responses increase from day 7. By day 14, you've got a nice set of immune responses. And by day 28, your immune responses are at maximum. And that's probably the time when you are the most protected. So, and now we're obviously following up and to seeing whether you need a booster dose. But, we are, we're looking at the durability of the immune response. And already, so we're already evaluating to see, how long it lasts and what is the timing of a second dose. But at this stage, we can tell you that it seems even at day 70, there's good immune responses. But obviously, these evaluations are all going on at this moment in time, and so we do think that we might need a second boost, maybe in a year's time, and we were able to do that again.
Verkeersboetes behels meer as 'n klein ongerief met minimale gevolge. Jy kan 'n kriminele rekord kry of probleme teekom as jy jou rybewys of motorlisensie hernie, en die metropolisie kan jou by padblokkades lastigval om die boetes te betaal. Fines for You vir minder moeite met verkeersboetes deur hul te monitor en vinnig, wetlik en effektief af te handel, sodat jy nie die ongewenste gevolge hoef te dra nie. Ons spesialiseer in groot vlote en streef daarna om jou geld te bespaar. Kontak ons gerus op 011 867 7331 of besoek ons webtuiste by www.finesforyou.co.za.